The NFL season is officially over, so the next thing to look forward to, of course, is the NFL draft. Today we got our top 10 wide receivers. Today, folks, as mentioned before, not one, not two, but 10 wide receivers. We got Metro's ranking list, my ranking list. We're going to go head-to-head in kind of a battle and explain to you why we have these guys in our top 10. Metro, how you doing, man? You ready to go today?
I'm doing great. Receivers, this is a really solid receiver class with a lot of good depth. We just did our quarterback rankings, and we had like 2 guys who would go day 1 or day 2. In this video, we're going to have 10 guys who should all be taken before day 3 hits. So we got a lot of fun players to talk about.
Well said, man. I'm going to let you read off your 10 to 7 to start, and then I will follow.
All right. At my number 10, I have Chris Brazel. Number 9, I have Jeremy Bernard. 8, Omar Cooper. And number 7, Elijah Surratt.
Let's go. At 10, I got Zachariah Branch. 9, Antonio Williams. 8, Jeremy Bernard. 7, Chris Bell. It looks like you have an outlier in Chris Brazel, or Chris Brazel,
Yes,
however you prefer to say
Brazel.
it. I'm going to let you take that away, the wide receiver out of Tennessee. The floor is yours.
All right, Chris Brazel. So Chris Brazel is 6'5", 200 pounds. His tape is up and down. Right, there are some games out there, like I think it was the Georgia game, where I was like, this guy's playing really well. There's other games, though, where he can kind of get, kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. Now, one thing we have to, every time we talk about a Tennessee receiver, you have to at least talk about and mention the Josh Heupel system, right? It is a very collegey system. It protects receivers. It makes it very difficult for defenses to play press man against them because they're so far outside the hashes, they're damn near out of balance. It really helps the receivers out a ton. And for Chris Brazel, I do have those concerns a little bit, but unlike a Jalen Hyatt, who I thought was a big-time beneficiary from the system, I think Chris Brazel should be okay, right? He's 6'5", good size. He's a little bit thinner. He's kind of a lankier guy, 6'5", 200 pounds. I would like for him to put on a bit extra weight in order to be able to handle press man in the NFL because you're going to be going up against lengthy, physical outside corners like Pat Surtain on an island with Chris Brazel. It's not a matchup I love. So, hence why he's at my number 10. But what I do like about him is he does a lot of the little things right. I think he's a really good route runner. I love the fact that he is an explosive athlete. I don't think he's going to run like a 4.3. I could see him running like a 4.49, a 4.51. But he looks a lot faster on the field, right? He gets in and out of breaks really quickly. I think for route running, he's actually pretty solid. Like he knows, how to, show the nuance to set a guy to go inside and maybe you want to bounce to the outside. Like he has a full route tree that he can run. He can win some explosive plays down the field. I don't think he's the best after the catch, which is one of my bigger cons for him. I think play strength is going to be an issue for him because he's just a lighter guy. He's going to have to put on some weight. He doesn't win a ton of contested catches. I think part of that is because he needs to put on more weight. And in terms of like yak upside, you would think he'd be better, but he's like a gazelle out there, right? He's a little clumsy sometimes, and it kind of gets to him a little bit. But I think he really understands how to get open in zone. I think he's a solid route runner with good fluid hips. I think he moves very well for his size. I think this is somebody that would be a ideal number 2. Probably start off as like a number 3 and develop into being a number 2. Not sure he'll ever be a number 1. I would like to see him put on more weight. And I think for a number 1, having that yak ability is always nice. But I like this guy a lot. He's got a lot of questions, hence why I know why a lot of people don't have him inside their top 10. But I'm willing to take a bit of a risky pick on him on like round 3 and see if I can get that upside, see if I can develop him into being a number 2 or number 3 option.
I like that a lot. He could potentially be a big-time steal for a team. If you can find a true X wide receiver, even like technically a big slot to come in there, have a big role in your offense sometime in day 3. Actually, here's a good question. Do you think he goes on day 3 or day 2?
Day 2. Oh, that's a good one, actually. Oh, man. I think day 2. I think round 3 is my guess. Round 3 or early round 4. But it all depends on how he does the combine. If he goes to the combine and runs a 4.57 and looks light out there and he weighs in less than 200, yeah, it's a day 3 pick. But if the combine is good, we'll be fine. Again, we're going to do rankings after the combine, so we'll get the fully updated. We'll know more about Chris Brazel when we get to that point.
Well said, man. Like, for prospects like this that are unique outliers, like he's 6'4", so he's like a giraffe, but he's also pretty skinny, so you got to move quick. You got to time well,
Yes.
Otherwise, like you said, you're going to fall a little bit. So, well said, man. I'm going to jump to Zachariah Branch, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go back to back with Williams and Branch. I don't have them in my top 10, and I'll offer my reasoning why after I'll let you gas them up a little bit, and I'll bring them back down. Okay,
You bring him back down, bring him right back down to earth. I like it. Let's start with Zachariah Branch, the Georgia wide receiver. This man stands 5'10", 180. He's a junior, so a younger cat heading into the draft. And guys, I'm going to cut to the chase. He is who you want to throw the ball in a bubble screen. He had 44 screen catches on the year. That's second out of all FBS play. Clearly, he's good at one thing in particular. Had a ton of screen yards, of course. A lot of yards after catches, 7.8 after each reception. Forced 20 missed tackles. I think there's a true role for somebody that doesn't want to pay a bunch of money in free agency for a yak guy, for a wide receiver. How about you just take Zachariah Branch in your 5th round pick and your 4th round pick, and instantly he's got a role. We know what he can do. He can catch screen passes, and instead, you like truly, if you want to run like an RPO type system with a guy like this, he will make that bread and butter happen if you're throwing him things down in the slot. So I like Zachariah Branch a lot. I understand he's kind of one-dimensional, which probably where your knock is for sure, but I think he'll have an immediate role in the NFL, thus I threw him at 10. 9 is wide receiver Antonio Williams out of Clemson. This is a guy I was high on, man. I had him as a top 3 wide receiver in my summer rankings. I was big time on Antonio Williams. He's 5'11", 190, a redshirt junior. He had such a good year in 2024, like every Clemson player ever. 11 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards, and 75 receptions. And he, above all, man, he had the juice. You watch his tape, it is clear he is a man amongst boys and moving out there, and he's different. He's a different cat. So, like all these guys out of Clemson, we didn't see the juice like we saw in 2024. I don't know what was in the water, man. I love the tape so much in 24. I'm kind of a truther because of that I'm going to hold on to it. I've seen the talent, and it's above most of these guys in my opinion. So I give him an honorable mention type slot at 9 with Antonio Williams.
Yeah, I'm a lot higher on Williams than Branch. Williams is my receiver 13 on my board, and Zachariah Branch is my 16th receiver. So I think, and again, this is, Zachariah Branch, I'm going to do it in a chair, right? I can probably run a 5.2 flat if I'm lucky, if I don't pull a hamstring. Zachariah Branch is going to go to the combine, probably run like a 4.31, somewhere in the 4.3s. He's a burner, and that's what he's known for. And I love the fact that you can use him in more packages than just as a receiver. Like, you put him on special teams, he's your day one punt and kick returner. He's got that type of juice, but I don't know. For me, it just feels a bit gadgety. I just can't really see a consistent role for him that isn't bubble screens. I mean, his average depth of target this year was 3.6. I mean, he took a lot of stuff underneath. I mean, it's funny, his game, and it's a little bit limited sample size, but in week 2, I don't know what this school is. Austin P. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but his average depth of target was negative 0.8. That means that dude was getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage on every single catch. That's my big concern. I just don't know what his role would be outside of a screen guy, but in terms of special teams, if you're a team that needs juice on special teams and just needs athleticism, yeah, take Zachariah Branch early day 3, late day 2, and you're feeling pretty good. For Williams, I like Williams a lot too. I think he's definitely more of a slot guy than an outside receiver, but he has the juice. He's got the speed. I worry a bit about he's a lighter guy who has injury history. His statistics are up and down. I don't know. He's a good football player. I just prefer, reliability, I suppose, would be my argument against him. But yeah, 2 fun players. I'm glad we got to have the conversation about them, and we'll dive into them deeper after the combine because both those guys should help their stock at the combine for sure. Do you want to touch on Jeremy Bernard a bit?
This is kind of a perfect segue. You mentioned Antonio Williams hasn't shown that reliability. Man, if you are a SpongeBob fanatic like myself, Jeremy Bernard was all reliable this year for Bama. Literally the entire offense ran through him. They weren't handing the ball off. They couldn't run it. Ryan Williams had an off year. It was very strange. So it was Ty Simpson, Jeremy Bernard, making shit happen every single drive. To give a light premise, then I'll hand it off to you for some more details. He's a slot guy. He can play outside a little bit, but I'd want him in that slot role for sure. He's got great feel in zone, guys. That's where he's going to show up immediately as a rookie. When you're playing zone defense against him, he can sit down, get easy 4 to 5 yard catches, and move the ball down the field. I don't think he's an excellent athlete, thus his ceiling is capped here, but as we've learned in the NFL, you don't have to be an elite athlete to be a top wide receiver. So sky's the limit for him, man. If he hits, it is truly a fact that that athlete shit for wide receivers, man, it is out the window. It doesn't exist anymore because Jeremy Bernard will define that. But I hand it to you, Metro. Any thoughts on Mr. Bernard?
Yeah, Bernard, you talk about reliability. Through 4 years in college, 1 year at Michigan State. Shout out. We salute to you.
Shout out.
Went to Washington with DeBoer, then transferred to Bama with DeBoer. In over 232 targets, he has 4 drops on the entire 4-year career. That's a drop a season. He literally had 1 drop this year. I also think he's best utilized in the slot, but I like him kind of just moving inside and outside, right? At Alabama this year, 186 snaps in the slot, 335 out wide. Part of that's because Ryan Williams is a lot better when he's utilized in the slot, so you can move him inside and out. You can do the same with Jeremy Bernard. I kind of think that's what his role is going to be at the pro level. I was a little higher on him earlier in the season, but as I've gotten into more guys, as I've gotten into more film, I started liking a couple other guys a little more than him. Still, I like Jeremy Bernard. I think if you're looking for just a super reliable go-to slot receiver that, again, is probably going to run like a 4.5. He's not going to wow you measurables-wise. He's kind of just an average-looking receiver, but his play on the field is really sharp. Like, he's just a good route runner. He finds ways to get open. He has consistently reliable hands. He's a smart player. He will try and block out there. Like, he's not a wuss. He's going to actually try and make plays and open up some space. And that's what his role is going to be in the NFL. His role is going to be Mr. Reliable, play inside and outside. We're going to be never taking you off the field, block well, be physical, go up and make a couple plays. That's what he's going to do. He's not a high upside guy. I think he's tapped out as like a number 2 option, but I mean, you're taking a day 2 pick on him for a reason. And if you can get him to be a second option, somebody who's just the ultimate team guy, you're finding now more and more the NFL is looking for those team guys, right? You have your high upper echelon talent that gets paid the big bucks, right? The CeeDee Lambs of the world, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons of the world. But ideally, you want to pair those superstars with somebody who can just get open and eat up targets that are not going to those other receivers. That's what I see in Jeremy Bernard. I think his game will translate very well to the NFL, and he fits any system because all systems in the NFL need good slot receivers, need guys that can get open, need guys that are reliable. That's Jeremy Bernard.
I got one question. Actually, it's more of an answer. Then I got a question for you on your next guy.
Okay.
Jeremy Bernard is going to be a player that slides down rankings over the next 2 months because he's not going to test well at the combine, if even run, because why should he, honestly? He had great tape. His tape is strong, and guys that have strong tape and not great athletic skills, they slide down the board, and they find the mix somewhere in day 3. I think you can see him go in the 4th round and make an instant impact for a team, so keep your eye on Bernard. He's got a ton of talent and is a great player. He can help your wide receiver room out a ton. Are you ready to go forward to, man, Metro, this is my guy, man. This is your dude right here, so I want to hear about him. You got the man. I'll hand it to you. You can talk about him. I'm not going to say a peep. Take it away.
Omar Cooper?
No, because he might be
later.
Next one? Maybe
so
later. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so here's the thing with Surratt. His tape isn't going to blow you away, which is, I think, why you're starting to see people kind of slide him down the board a little bit. It's also in addition because his teammate, Omar Cooper, he pops off a lot more on the tape. I just think Surratt does all the little things right. I just think he is I like reliability. I like guys that can work in the NFL. And I think that's the case with Elijah Surratt. Admittedly speaking, he was inside my top 5 a few months ago, I guess. I've kind of fallen a little bit on him, and I feel like after the combine, once we get into that as well, he might fall down to like my 8th or 9th favorite guy. But if I'm just looking at pure tape, I'm just looking at which guy do I like off of the film that I've seen so far. I like Surratt a lot. He's got good size. He's 6'2", 213 pounds. Obviously, Indiana guy. I think he's crafty. I think he's one of the better route runners in this draft class. He does struggle to create a ton of separation because he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest guy in the world. I just think he's reliable. He's a different type of reliable from Jeremy Bernard, because Jeremy Bernard's that that inside slot receiver that's going to find a lot more space. Cooper's just reliable in the sense of kind of like Jaden Higgins in a lot of ways, right? Taller, lengthier, can win some contested catches. You give him a chance to make a play on the ball, he's typically going to make it. But like Higgins, you're not looking at somebody that I think is the craftiest, or not the craftiest, but the fastest, the most physically gifted, things like that. That's what I kind of feel like with Surratt. And I was very high last year on Higgins. I think Higgins was wide receiver 3 or 4 for me last year. It's kind of the same mold as Surratt. I thought Higgins was better, but I think Surratt is right there with them. I just think he's a good route runner. I think he's physical at the line of scrimmage. I think he's reliable. I think he's got good body control. His speed leaves a lot to be desired. He's going to struggle a little bit in press. All issues that kind of concern you, but I'm not drafting him to be my number 1. I'm drafting him to be my second outside wide receiver that has a safe floor and a very really high ceiling, but not to the same ceiling of like a superstar. That's how I feel about with Surratt. I'd feel comfortable taking him middle to late round 2. That's where I'm at with him right now.
I love that. And add on to that, you got a lot of players that are like Toyota Camrys, man. Toyota Corollas. They're going to go forever, and you know it. But I got a couple of guys that are more like Ferraris or maybe like, what's a car that costs too much? They're probably like a BMW. It's going to break down in like 5 years. But they're fun. They look fun on the surface, but are they going to work? We will find out. So great player right there in Mr. Surratt. It looks like we're kind of at a tier break here, so you want to go to our next 3.
Yeah, I'll let you go first this time.
Cool. At number 6, I have Omar Cooper Jr. At 5, I have Casey Concepcion. And 4, Denzel Boston.
Yeah, and for me at 6, I have Chris Bell, 5, Denzel Boston, and 4, Casey Concepcion. I'll let you start on Chris Bell because you're a little lower than I am on him, but I can understand why. So I'll let you start off with him, and then I'll follow up with you.
Let's go. Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville, number 0. He's going to be one of the most unique guys you see this year. He's 6'2", 220, and a senior. I had no idea about him in the summer until, of course, Dane mentioned him on The Athletic. He had a pretty good year in 2024, over 700 yards, but the tantalizing talent of being 6'2" and 220, and folks, he legitimately, on tape, runs a 4.3. I mean that. He can fly down the field with all that mass. That is what's encapsulating. I want to tell you he's great in contested catches. He's like 50%. That's solid for college. It could be better. I want to tell you he's great at that. I want to tell you he's amazing at yards after the catch. He's still figuring that out. What he is a lottery ticket with the upside. Can we get an awesome wide receiver room to help mold this guy into something special? That's the swing you're taking in day 2 with Chris Bell. And I think if it hits, you have a true wide receiver 1. But we're rolling the dice here. I'll acknowledge that. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking, if I'm a GM, an early second on him, but late second, third, I'm taking that swing all day long for my team.
Yeah, Bell, so for context, he just tore his ACL in November, late November, like a late injury for him, which is unfortunate for him because he was somebody that was flying up draft boards, would have probably been a late round 1, early round 2 type of guy. Honestly, I think that's where his stock was getting towards. But towards ACL, you're now looking at him probably being more of a round. I still think he goes round 2. I think that's where I'm looking at for him. Round 2, round 3. You're not kidding though. Like this guy is all talents, all upside. He runs a legit 4.4 to 4.3. He can stop on a dime. He's not the best route runner. He's very much still learning and developing that. His route tree is very, very limited, right? Louisville did not do a ton with him, but what they did do, he succeeded a lot at. I think he can win down the field. He's got a great size, very condensed, like dense build. He's physically gifted. Again, that stop and go ability is hard to teach. I think he's really good off the line of scrimmage. I think there's an upside here. I think he's a smart guy who just needs more time and reps starting, ideally playing opposite of somebody who is a technical route runner. I just think this is a really good player, man. I think he works right in the middle of the field well. I think he plays with intensity. I think he's got the speed, the athleticism, the strength. There's not a lot to him right now that I think is tapped out. I think he is very much somebody that has so much room to grow. And now, pending the injury, that's the big sort of concern here. He's got so much room to grow and so much upside to be great. I think instantly he steps in and he's a wide receiver 2. But I think he has a really good chance to be your wide receiver 1. If you let him develop, if you get the right coaches around him, and you let him be him, and hopefully the injury's fine, I think Chris Bell's great. I was lower on Chris Bell coming into this. As I've gotten to see more of him as he got through the rest of the season, I'm starting to like his upside a lot more. That damn injury, though, if he wasn't injured, he would be my wide receiver 4. Like, no doubt in my mind, he would be my wide receiver 4. But because of that injury, because I don't know how he's going to look stop-and-go-wise, that ability to get in and out of cuts, we'll have to wait and see. So Chris Bell, though, really fun player. That injury scares me a bit.
I got one quick comp. I think this guy, the guy I'm about to speak of, was better at contested catches in college, but I see a lot of Xavier Legette in his game. Big body, can fly down the field. Broke out more as a senior later in his career. They're not the same player. I get that. One went in the first. One is a torn ACL. Like, these are just facts. But Chris Bell, the upside's there. He feels like a luxury pick to me personally. I don't want to take him to a wide receiver room that's empty. You kind of have to for the price you're going to have to pay. But if I could steal him on not day 3, in the 3rd round and add him to a wide receiver room that's like stacked, where he can be number 3 or even number 4 potentially for a couple of years or just 1 year, I like what he could be long-term for your team.
Yeah, Legette struggled to create any type of separation. I think Bell will be able to get some separation. But size, build, that ability to win down the field, that really good athleticism, I think there's some good comparisons there. Do you want to speak on Omar Cooper? You're a little higher than I am on him, but I love Omar Cooper too. So
honestly, man, I was just yapping so much. I'm going to hand it to you.
Okay, yeah, Omar Cooper. You talk about Jeremy Bernard. Very similar type of skill set in some ways, where you're going to play him a lot inside. You'll play him a little bit on the outside too. But I think he's got a little bit more size to him. He is 6 foot. I think he's a better build for the position than Bernard. Bernard is just kind of like, if you took a Madden player, right, and you just loaded up a default, that's Jeremy Bernard, right? Omar Cooper's a little bit shorter, but it almost works better for him in this position, because I think he's going to be a primary slot guy. But I think he's got good size. I think he works the middle of the field perfectly. Like, he could sit down in zones. He's willing to take a hit. A lot of times these receivers, they're afraid of working in the middle, man, because you got safeties that are going after them. You got corners, going full speed at them. You got linebackers. It's such a condensed area, so many bodies around you. Omar Cooper does a great job of working there. I think he's really good after the catch. I think he's a really solid route runner. He's got reliable hands. In terms of cons, I wouldn't call him a freaky athlete. I wouldn't call him the super rangy guy. I don't think he's got the widest of catch radiuses. He's got a drop or two on film that's like, oh man, you can't do that. It's not like he runs the craziest route tree either. Indiana system, some of it was RPOs, but some of it was NFL concepts. And I think that's where you see the flashes of Omar Cooper, where it's like, I just think he is who he is. He is probably going to be a slot receiver who will go inside and outside on occasion. That is the perfect, again, like Bernard, complementary piece to a superstar talent. You have your Justin Jefferson. Let's say they get off Jordan Addison. Omar Cooper, plug and play right there to be your number 2. Like, that is his role. It's going to be, and like I'll say kind of the same thing with Bernard. A lot of teams, every team needs a reliable slot receiver, somebody who can work inside and outside, who has that flexibility, who you can throw a ball to, and they're going to catch it and they're going to make a play with the ball. That is Omar Cooper, and who knows where Indiana would have gone last year without Omar Cooper. Maybe they still would have won it, but Cooper gave them a much better chance, I'll say that.
Absolutely. I feel like Zachariah Branch is the gadget guy in the short game. Omar Cooper can do majority of the same things, but he's an all-around wide receiver, and that's why he moves so much farther up the board, at least for me, without a doubt. The thing that stuck out to me is I really respect his tape. This guy can ball. 27 forced missed tackles this year. That's 4th in the entire nation, man. He's a problem out there with the ball in his hands. That is going to get some NFL team hot and bothered on draft day. So, echoing what you said, I like his game a lot.
You want to do Denzel Boston?
Yeah, baby. Let's
go.
I'm shipping up to Boston, baby. Denzel Boston, the Washington wide receiver. He's 6'4", 209. Kind of a slender build. Reminds me of the build of Tedero McMillan. Denzel Boston, folks. He is a young pup. He's a junior. He's been doing this for a while. Last year, he had over 800 yards. Didn't do much his freshman year, but also in 2024 had 9 touchdowns. Followed that up this year in 2025 with a similar stat line, 800 yards again and 11 touchdowns on the season. What you're getting in Denzel Boston is a wide receiver that has got juice in his game. He can move very well for how big he is. I don't want to put someone down and put someone up, but if you see a guy like Higgins from last year, I don't think he's nearly as slippery and quick as Denzel Boston is in this class, and that's why you're seeing first-round talks truly for Denzel Boston. Contested catch rate was 77%, Grain of salt here, though. He's also much bigger than every cornerback on the field. We got to call that out. But he's also doing it at a high clip. So potato, tomato. Sorry, that's not the comparison. It's chicken or the egg. Different saying.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah, we got there. Chicken or the egg, which one really matters? But Denzel Boston can be a truly elite X wide receiver if he polishes up his route running, uses those skills and ability to his fullest, and he's already doing a great job in college. And he's also a young wide receiver prospect. Should take that into account when drafting a guy like this. So I like Denzel Boston. The upside's there. Metro, what are your thoughts on I'm shipping up to Boston?
Yeah, Denzel, he's my number 5 receiver, so we see him pretty similar. I like a lot about this guy. 6'4", long arms, really good contested catch guy. He's physical at the catch point. He knows how to get his hands in the right spot. He knows how to put his body in the right situations. He's got legitimately incredible hands. Some of the catches he makes are just ridiculous. He's really good after the catch. He is a bit lankier, but he can break arm tackles. He's good after the catch. He's also a willing blocker, which I like to see as well. You know, you'd want him to be being 6'4". I think his route running is my biggest reason why he's my 5th and not my 4th. The KC and Denzel, they kind of just go back and forth for me, right? I do feel like there is a bit of a separation from the top 5 in my list to the next 5.
Absolutely.
But Boston and KC are really tight between the two. I worry the most about Denzel. So I watched, how many games? I watched 7 games this season. Hopefully by the combine I'll get through all his games. I made sure to watch the Oregon game and I watched the Ohio State game, which are the 2 best teams he played this year. And in those games, he got shut out, basically. He got shut out completely in those ones. 25 against Oregon, 26 versus Ohio State. Now, granted, how much of that is on him? How much of that is on the quarterback? How much of that is on the game plan? How much of that is on Ohio State, you know, trying to do everything they can to limit Denzel Boston? All legitimate concerns, right? I just feel like it's been a consistent trend now throughout most of his career that you see his game dip when he goes up against the higher level competition, because that happened a little bit last year too. So that's a bit concerning because when you get to the NFL, you're not going up against scrubs on week 3, right? In college, you'll get a Colorado State, you'll get a UC Davis, you get a Rutgers. No offense to, good schools, but not football schools, right?
Yeah.
You get to the NFL, you go against the worst team in the NFL, they have an All-American corner out there. You play the Carolina Panthers, they got J.C. Horn out there, right? Now, if you go against the Dallas Cowboys, you might get 250 on them, but that's neither here nor there. But still, there's a lot to like about him. He's got to work on his route running a little bit, growing that route tree, getting a bit more twitchy at the top, but we've seen Tetairoa McMillan have success. We've seen big body guys like T. Higgins have success, even with them not being these super elite route runners. I think there's a role for Boston. Some will try and make the comparison to Keon Coleman. I think he's a better route runner than Keon Coleman. Coleman was basically, he was a tough watch because it's like, damn, bro, can you put a move on this guy or
it's
just
a walking
keep
highlight tape? Yeah, but
he
that's
was. Some of the catches he made. Poof,
yeah,
that's why he was a 2nd-round pick. But
he's a TikTok. Sorry. Oh God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Go ahead.
He's like if you scroll, he stops your thumb when you're scrolling kind of catch guy. That's how special he was coming out of college.
Yeah, no, you're not lying at all. I like him a lot. I like Denzel a lot. But I'm excited to see what he looks like at the combine. I think the testing, how he looks in and out of breaks, what he looks like during the drills, what his 40 shuttle is, not 40 shuttle, but 40 time is. All of that will either help his draft stock or hurt his draft stock. And I don't think it's going to hurt him enough to make it out of round 2. He's either round 2 or more than likely round 1 if he has a solid enough combine. So excited to see him work over there for sure.
Yeah, he's a day 2 lock minimum. I'd say round 2 lock, like you said. Let's go to KC Recepcion. You got him at 4. I have him at 5. I just yapped about Boston, so take Recepcion away.
Yeah, A&M. What a year they had. Now, granted, they went up against Pee Wee JV squads every single week. I'm kidding. All right, you see the flag.
He's getting his digs in while he can.
Yeah, I got to get my digs in here and there. But no, for real. Look, KC's a good football player. He's a first round, a second round guy. I like him late first, middle first, somewhere around that range. 5'11", 190. He's explosive. He's great with the ball in his hands. He's a shifty, very sudden route runner. He tracks the ball well. He's great after the catch. The biggest knock I have for KC, he's got to clean up the drops. He just has to. It's so frustrating watching him, and I'll pull up the exact numbers. I think he had 7 this year and 9 or 19 throughout his career over 3 years. It just can't happen that much, man. He has to fix the catch issues or the drop issues because he has, a drop percentage of 9.3% with 19 drops through 3 years. 7 this year, 7 last year, 5 in his freshman year. It's so frustrating, and I can only imagine how much more frustrating it will be for NFL fans. If you're going to be a first-round pick, 7 drops is wild. It is a tough look. And some of them are just focus drops. Sometimes it's just who have the ball in his hands, and when they don't look the ball in, they start to look away, or they start tensing up for a hit. That's where a lot of the drops come from. He has to clean that up because he has a lot of other things going for him. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not the most physically gifted guy. He's 5'11", 190. If you're asking me, 5'11", 190, that's a big-ass dude, right? He's a damn near 6'4" guy, but in reality, he's 5'11". You go out there and you play a Traden Stukes, 6'3", 6'2" slot corner from Arizona, he might give you some problems. He's just big, right? But Casey has that ability to play inside and outside. He is, in all reality, a bit of a shorter guy, which I'm not that big of an issue with. We'll talk about another shorter receiver in our top threes, who's also 5'11", but his way of handling his size is different from KC. So, I think KC is a very solid first to second round pick. He is what he is. He has to clean up the drops. If he can clean up the drops, you're looking at a potential wide receiver 1, more like probably a really good wide receiver 2.
Casey Concepcion is an easier fit into your offense than I'd say Denzel Boston, with my personal opinion, because he just fits anywhere, man. He can do both. Like you said, the only knock he has is just clean up the drops. So we'll see what he can do. I think he's going to be just fine. But do you have an official comp for KC? Not to put you on the spot, but I know he's a 4. You got to be seeing some kind of flashes of some guy from the past in the NFL. You were like, oh, this guy's special. He reminds me of X or Y.
I think he's a better, like, Malachi Corley. I think you could see his game kind of reflects kind of a combination of like a shorter Christian Watson, but also like a mixture of like Jaden Reed almost, where Reed can play inside and outside, and he's a good athlete. He can play on the slot. I think that'd probably be the one that's just off the top of my head that I could see for him. Now, he's 5'11". That's why I get like a Malachi Corley. I think Corley's a little shorter than that, and he's obviously not nearly as going to be as good as what Casey is, but kind of a loose comp right there.
I like that. I'm proud of you, man. I put you on the spot, and you absolutely delivered. You ready to go to our top 3? And, guys, it's actually a crazier order than I would expect, so it's going to be fun. Yeah. Ready to go?
Let's rock into it. I'll let you start this one.
All right, because this guy's got the bombshell. At 3, I'm going to go Makai Lemon. 2, Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. Never go wrong. And then 1, Jordan Tyson Chicken Nuggets. Take it away.
3 Carnell Tate, 2 Jordan Tyson, 1 Makai Lemon. I do want to throw the caveat. Before. I know. Fans right now throwing tomatoes. They're throwing tomatoes or they're cheering me on. I got to throw the caveat. If Tyson is healthy, he's my clear-cut number 1. It's not even close. He'd be a top 3 player for me in this class. The injury bug, though, boy,
he ain't healthy.
We'll get there in a second. I will say this, too. In my overall big board, Makai is 7, Carnell Tate is 11, Tyson is 8. So we're talking, I'm picking, what's the term? What's the word I'm looking for?
Straws.
I'm picking straws. I'm picking straws with this one, big time. It's tough to pick between these ones, but I'll let you start off with who do you want to start off with, actually? I don't know.
Let's go Carnell Tate because he's not one of our ones. Is that okay?
Yes, let's go Carnell Tate. I'll let you start, and then I'll follow with you.
Cool. Carnell Tate, if you live under a rock, that is the wide receiver out of Ohio State, just the next one to come along. He's 6'3", 195. Going into the year, he was felt as like a day 2 wide receiver. People were saying, I don't see it. I don't see the route refinement. I don't see the big playability. Well, folks, did he prove everybody wrong this year? Out the gate in the first game and the second, he was making big-time catches on Texas, Georgia, and not Georgia, but the list goes on. Man, he had a year.
Texas on the bus, huh? I see. All right.
Sorry. I would never do that. I root for Texas. I pay taxes to them. So 80 I know who owns the land around here. 85% contested catch rate, which is unreal real. I talked about Denzel Boston's at 77, also a great score, but 85. It was at like 95 at some point this year. He's had a fantastic year. Carnell Tate. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest, but he showed big-time playmaking ability through the air. And more importantly, I've heard mixed opinions on this, so I'll just say my piece because, hell, we're on our show. I think his route running is phenomenal. And I think his real attributes show up around the sideline. Whenever, I can't help but think, but every time Caleb Williams scrambles out and throws a dart to the sideline, Carnell Tate would be a match made in heaven. It doesn't fit the system, I get it, but that's the kind of player we're talking. Sideline, extension, toe drag swag, it's money. Every single time, he's a safety blanket X wide receiver, and it's rare you find a guy who's that well refined in his route running, that great at big play ability through catches, and above all, he knows what he's doing in big-time scenarios around the sideline. In the red zone, he's going to be a problem. So I love what you get in Carnell Tate. People try to knock him late in the draft process because I don't think he's the most athletic, so he might go down over time as you see another guy kind of similar to Jeremy Bernard that'll fall where Tape is king, and Tape kind of slips throughout the offseason. Carnell Tate, awesome wide receiver 1. I talked a lot, so what do you think about Mr. Tate?
No, I think you nailed the strengths there. This is somebody that does not drop the football, man. Reliable as they come. You give him a chance. I mean, the catch he made versus Texas, and I was kind of joking earlier. He made a catch on Jalen Gilbo. That ball was in the air, and it felt like it was 30 seconds long. And he just it was over and over this year where he just tracks the ball so well. And I wrote down as my notes like my top comment: deep ball savants. This guy, you give him a chance, man. You throw the deep ball to him, that dude is making the play. Great size. He's a good route runner. I also think he's a solid route runner. I'm not going to say he's the best route runner in this class, but he's good enough. I think he's really good. Again, he's my number 3 receiver, but the difference between him and Mekhi Lemon is honestly what drink I wake up that morning. If I wake up with a nice cup of coffee, he might be my number 1. If I wake up and I'm feeling a little groggy, might be my number 3. It just changes. In all reality, I think by the end of this process, he will be my number 3 because I don't think he's going to test the best of the combine. But he's an Ohio State receiver, right? A lot of JSN, for whatever reason, fell. And part of it was because, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the twitchiest guy in the world. These Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, some of these guys, you just kind of have to realize there's a bit of a pattern going on with Ohio State. You can't deny it. Those guys make plays. The reason why he's at my 3 and why, again, I'm picking straws a little bit here, I think he's probably going to run a 4.6. I just think that is a little too slow. Now, granted, Devontae Adams probably runs a 4.6, so I'm not too worried about it. He's going to be just fine. I don't like him after the catch. I think he gets tackled way too easily. I think he's a bit slender build. And I think while I think he's a really good route runner, there are times where you can tell that he kind of tips corners, right? So where corners kind of know what he's running. He's got little tells in his game that I have to imagine the NFL they'll get on. That all said, you put him in a good system with a good receiver coach, he could be a top 5 wide receiver. If he maximizes what he has, he's always been a number 2 option. I think that's another bit concerning. But, I mean, JSN was also never always the number 1. Like, these receivers, they get so many good ones at Ohio State that the difference between the number 1 and number 4 is nothing. They're all ridiculously talented. That's just what Ohio State does. So, yeah, Tate is my number 3, but again, it's hard to put him at 3 because you want to put him at number 1. It's just tough. By the way, where would he have been? And maybe we'll have this conversation a little bit later. Where would he have been in last year's receiver class? Would he be above Tetairoa McMillan for you?
Dude, that's hard.
Sorry.
You want to save that for? I think that's such a good conversation. You want to rank these top 3 against last year's first rounders?
Well, let me see. Hold on. I can't even remember who was in that class. It feels like it's been a decade ago.
We're getting old, man. Time's flying.
Dude, you're telling me. 2025, the top receiver was Tet. Then it was Emeka Egbuka. I think we can make this conversation pretty simple. I think Tate would be the number 1.
Okay. Honestly,
I would take Tate over Tet, honestly.
Honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I think I would too.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird to say with the year Tet's hat, but I can't use that in hindsight. So I'd say, I agree.
100%. Do you want to do Tyson now? Or do you want to do Mekhi? Who do you want to roll with?
I think Mekhi's more shocking. So you want to tag team Tyson? You want to open up, and then I'll bring down to earth, or you want to do the opposite?
Yeah, we'll do Tyson. I'll start us off on. Actually, no, I'll let you start on Tyson, so I can start it with Makai.
Cool. Sounds good.
Go for it.
Jordan Tyson, folks. He was the unanimous one going into summer and going into this year. And typically guys that are known for being badasses before the season even starts, it's for a damn reason. In 2024, and let's go all the way back actually, he was at Colorado with Coach Prime. He got sent away after an injury, you're going to hear that word a lot, and goes over to Arizona State. In 2024, lights out, puts on a show, over 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, has a big-time season over there in Tempe. 2025 rolls around. He did get injured again, but he played 9 of those games, had over 700 yards, and 8 highlight touchdowns, each one instrumenting one of his superpowers. So let's go through them one by one. The run-after-catch ability. When you look at the stat sheet, it's actually kind of lackluster, but if you look at the tape, I think there's more than meets the eye. This guy is twitched up, explosive. We use that word not lightly. Twitched up means you move different than everybody else in the field. He's got an extra gear that everybody doesn't have. He's exceptionally quick, twitched up, has actually some long speed as well. I like his game after the catch. And then contested catch-wise, we sat at about a 44% clip. He was hurt this year, so don't want to excuse that too much, but I think it's less of contested, and spectacular is the best word for it. He is the best tracker of the football in this entire class. If you saw one of his opening games, I think it was against poor NAU. I think it's Northern Arizona University. It had nothing to do with what defender was on him. I think my man Levitt threw a ball over his left shoulder. I've never seen a receiver track it where he ran literally over and left 8 yards, took it in, 2 yards on the ground, slides, gets up like he just slid like in soccer. You know that celebration, Metro, where they slide on 2 knees? Yeah. It was the sickest shit I've ever seen. So tracking ability, phenomenal. Run after the catch, it's definitely there. And when it comes to the route game, he could use some polish, but overall, he moves so well and knows how to bait cornerbacks and get them in horrible spots, find their blind spot. I think he's going to be a problem in the NFL. He's just, if I had to put it into one line for some middle school scouting, he just looks like it on tape. When you see the highlight tape, even the 6th grader in the whole room can go, yeah, that guy's special. I know it. You know it. And Jordan Tyson, that's his whole appeal. But Metro, bring me back to earth. Why would he not be number 1 in this class?
No, I mean, look, I'm not going to knock you too far with this one. If Tyson had no medical issues, he was squeaky clean, he would be my 3rd-ranked player in this entire class. It would be him, Love, and Downs. He'd be above Bain. He'd be above David Bailey. He'd even be above Fernando Mendoza. But the issue is you can't take the medicals off the scouting report. He had a knee injury in 22, collarbone in 24, hamstring in 2025. That's tough. Now, I feel like this is the talking point with every single one of these videos. The good news is it's not just one injury, right? If it was 3 straight knee injuries, he's not a first-round pick. That you can't deny that. The fact that it's different, body parts, the knee, the collarbone, this time the hamstring, I guess makes you kind of hopeful that this is just a string of bad luck. But I almost say, what's the saying? If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. If the dude gets injured 3 times in a row, he's probably going to get injured in the NFL. Like, it's the tough part about it. That all said, I'm obviously rooting for him. I hope that he gets the right team around him to get his body ready for physical, tough matchups in the NFL. And I wonder if maybe there's a level of obviously you're not going to give him like a workload limit like they do in the NBA. What do they call it? Minutes restriction. I don't know if they're going to do that necessarily, but if he starts breaking down a little bit in the NFL early in his career, I wouldn't be surprised if you see teams just sort of say, instead of 50 or instead of 30, 40 snaps, maybe just limit you to 20, like 20 really good snaps. Maybe we take you off the field more on rundowns. I don't know. Just throwing the idea out there. I think he's the best route runner in this class. Him and Makai Lemon, I think Makai's just different in terms of what he's asked to do. You can put Jordan Tyson anywhere on the field, put him in motion, put him on the outside, put him on the inside. That intermediate route running you cannot teach. He does have an issue with rounding off some of his routes, especially when he's doing like a 10-yard out or something like that. You'll see him kind of round it here and there. But more often than not, he is just so crispy. He knows how to set up safeties and corners. He knows how to get open, which is the most important thing in the NFL. I think he's an intermediate master. I think he works so well with the ball in his hands. I think he's got really solid hands. Does have a couple drops here and there, but I think he's got really solid hands. I think he wins so well in the intermediate, which I think is more important than winning deep. Hence why I have him a little bit above Tate. I think Tate is a much better player deep, but I think Tyson's much better intermediate and in the underneath. So that's why I prioritize more of that stuff more so than the deep stuff. The injuries are the big concern for him. He's also a little bit lighter frame-wise, so I'm hoping that he can put on a bit of extra weight, get some good medical guys around him, get this guy to work. He's a special player when he's healthy. The issue is just, can he stay healthy? That's the issue. So, but all that said, he's my number 2. It's not my number 1, though, because primarily of injuries.
Very fair. I'll have a question for you.
Yes.
And a statement. First a statement, then the question. Statement is, we heard our friend Brandon Ross. He was a scout in the NFL, also played for multiple years. If the team doctor says no, this is from him, they don't draft him. It doesn't care. It does not matter if the head coach is pounding the table for this guy. It doesn't matter if the GM is on all fours begging. You're not drafting Jordan Tyson. So how many teams and their doctors elect to not draft Jordan Tyson? That is how you theoretically see a draft on a slide on draft day. So my question to you, Metro, what is the earliest Tyson can go? What is the latest he can go?
It's kind of like it almost feels similar to Will Johnson from last year, right? Will Johnson was CB1. He was the best corner, but he had was it a knee injury, and there was also rumors he ran like a 4.9 or something like that, and so he fell to like round 2. Now he's been really good when healthy. He's been really good. I think earliest Tyson goes is top 5 pick. I think lowest he goes, unless the injuries are just brutal.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the injuries are going to be fine, well, or at least good enough to where they're not too concerning. In the 20s, I think. I think he's a round 1 lock. I just don't think if I'm a team in the if I'm the Buffalo Bills at 20, I think 26, I think they have. If Jordan Tyson's available, I'm not thinking twice about it. I'm saying, man, I don't care if we only get him for 20 snaps a game. He's different. He is a playmaker. He is maybe the best receiver in this class. I don't think he makes it that far. Bills fans watching, sorry to get your hopes up. He's not going to be there. At least I don't think so. But a team like, that's in the middle of the rounds that might need a receiver, I think you're hoping that Tyson falls a little bit. I think they're hoping a little bit. So we'll see. I just think he's different. I think he has a level of like a JSN to him that makes me like, I think he could be a stud, especially in the right system. Like if I was Las Vegas, I know they can't get their hands on him, but man, he'd be so good with a Clint Kubiak. He'd be so good. So if he does fall somehow to round 2, yikes. Him and Fernando, we need that. We need that.
Metro, I think it's time. You need to take away your number 1 overall wide receiver. His name, Makai Lemon. You have the floor, King. Tell me about this prospect.
Yeah, again, emphasis here. And if Tyson's healthy, he'd be my number 1. But we're throwing the caveat in there with the concerns of the injury. I have Makai Lemon as my number 1. He is so unbelievably reliable. He is 5'11", 195. I think he carries his weight well. He can win some contested catches. He's not going to thrive in that, but he can do it. He works so well in the middle of the field. I wish I could pull the numbers up and give them to you live, but so much of his production comes within the middle of the field. So much of the work he does comes from the middle. So I'll tell you the numbers here. He had this year 8 of 13 deep in the middle of the field, 7 of 12 in the intermediate in the middle of the field, and 23 of 27 in kind of short distances within 10 yards in the middle of the field. He does so much work in the middle of the field, which to me, you can read a little bit into that, but a lot of that just means is that, he's willing to get hit. He's willing to take on contact. And I know it's kind of a lazy comp, but it's the best comp you can give him. You see so much of Amon-Ra St. Brown in him. Physical, a dog in the run game, willing to put his nose in there to get dirty, catches damn near everything, so good with the ball in his hands. The ultimate scheme fit, the ultimate culture guy, the ultimate locker room guy. That's what you get with Makai Lemon. He did so much of the dirty work for USC. He was so productive. 1,156 yards this year. He is definitely more of a slot guy. He worked at 283 snaps in the slot, but kind of like Amon-Ra, you're gonna put him inside and outside. Look, if you are an Aaron Glenn with the Jets, boy, it's gonna be hard not to take Mekhi Lemon, because you're gonna look at what you had with your offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you're gonna say, man, if we can get Mekhi Lemon, we are just gonna do the exact same thing we did in Detroit. There's gonna be so many teams that look at Mekhi and just say, what did the Lions do with Amon-Ra? And let's replicate that exact same thing with Mekhi. And we've seen Amon-Ra, I mean, he's not a top 3 receiver in the NFL, but he is maybe the most consistent receiver in the NFL. Like Amon-Ra, you know what you're getting from him. He doesn't get hurt. He'll fight through injuries. He is the ultimate locker room fit. Maybe you wish he'd shut up on podcasts a little bit, but you're all good there. I don't think Mekhi's going to make it too many podcasts. Yeah, Mekhi Lemon, man. You just love watching him play, man. You just love watching him play. Yeah, that's what I think about him. Again, the caveat, if Tyson's healthy, if he's 100%, he's my number one. But, hey, he's not 100%. Mekhi is. You can trust him to get open. You can trust him to stay on the field. And you can trust him to work his ass off and block and do whatever he can. So that's why I got him number one.
Metro, I got a hard question for you, so I'm going to give you time to think about it.
All right.
Mekhi Lemon, when we comp him to Amon-Ra St. Brown, rich, but I get it, man. He has a lot of the similar attributes, but I think it's very key that we find a similar role for him like Amon-Ra, and not every coach can replicate that. They don't know how to instrument that kind of play calling, get the right system, and have a slot guy that can truly thrive like Amon-Ra has. So, while I agree with you, if you had to pick a team in the NFL draft, if he's going to go in the first, where would you like to see him go?
All right, let me see. I'm just type in NFL teams so I can see all of them. I think he would thrive. I think he would thrive in Atlanta, although they don't have a first-round pick, so I'm not even going to throw that name at you. But
James Pierce. Oh, he just got in trouble too. Oh, I didn't even mean to bring that up, but here we are. Go ahead.
Terrible timing.
Horrible timing.
Los Angeles Rams. I mean, him and Puka Nacua and Devontae for a year would be disgusting. Him and Drake May and the Patriots, not going to happen. They have a late first, but that would be just disgusting. Arizona, like him. Yeah. I know Michael Wilson plays a bit in the slot too, but him, Michael Wilson, and Marv would be filthy. And Arizona can actually take them. They have an early first. They think they have the third pick. Who else, man? I think
those are some really good
answers.
Ones.
Just everybody.
You're right.
Maybe the Colts. No, they have Josh Downs, so probably not. Miami. Jalen Waddle, Mekhi Lemon, you're not stopping those two guys. Those guys just find ways to get open. And, of course, the New York Jets with Aaron Glenn. So my favorite fit, though, would be the Los Angeles Rams. If they can get their hands on him I think they have 13, man, that offense would be nasty. And if there's a guy that would know how to use him like Amon-Ra, it would be Sean McVay. He would know how to use him.
You heard it here first. Man, Mekhi Lemon, so much fun. Metro, this receiver class is absolutely electric. This is a whole storyline by itself on draft day. I can't wait to see who falls where. It's going to be very interesting when these landing spots hit.
No doubt. And, for people who want to stick around, and once we get to after the Senior Bowl, we're going to be doing our top 20 receivers. So the orders will change a little bit. We're going to get 20 names to you guys. There are 20 players that I think are good quality players in this class. I think there's a hand, and not all of them are going to be superstars. Some of them will end up fizzling out. Some will be great. Some will be just kind of mediocre. But this is a class with a lot of different types. Some slot guys, some outside X receivers, some big body physical guys, some athletic guys. It's just a really solid class in general. It's one of the stronger position groups in this year's class.
Question for you, Metro, to close this whole thing. We kind of did it halfway earlier. If you had to slot in Ted Aroa and Amika and Golden in this year's class, where do you do it? Do it with your rankings.
Mekhi 1, Tyson 2, Tate 3, Tet 4. I was high on Matthew Golden. I still am. I think I'd have Golden in front of KC as well. And see, I was, for whatever reason, I was low on Emeka. Silly me. I would have had Emeka probably right behind Denzel. So it would have been Mekhi, Tyson, Tate, Tet, Matthew Golden, KC, Denzel, then Emeka. But now, obviously, in hindsight, Emeka is pretty damn good. He's a pretty good player.
Hindsight, man, it's a luxury most can't afford. You want to go through our final list and then bounce on out of here?
Yes, sir. I'll let you go first.
Cool. At 10, I got Zachariah Branch. 9, Antonio Williams. 8, Jeremy Bernard. 7, Chris Bell. 6, Omar Cooper Jr. 5, we have Casey Concepcion. 4, Denzel Boston. 3, Mekhi Lemon. 2, Carnell Tate. And then 1, Jordan Tyson.
And for me, at number 10, I have Chris Brazel. Number 9, Jeremy Bernard. 8, Omar Cooper. 7, Elijah Surratt. 6, Chris Bell. 5, Denzel Boston. 4, Casey Concepcion. 3, Carnell Tate. 2, Jordan Tyson. And number 1, Mekhi Lemon.
If you love the NFL Draft, stick around. Go subscribe down below. We hit 1K about a month ago. I guess we're on 2 months now. We're flying, man. We're on the way to 2K. We're halfway there. It's because of y'all. Go subscribe. Thank you very much. If you want to stick around for the top 20 wide receivers, we'll be posting that within the next month. It's combine time. It's NFL Draft season. We're happy to have you here. Love you guys. Have a great one. Metro, sign us off.
Appreciate all you guys for listening. Stay tuned for more. We'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button. Love you guys. Peace out.